Welcome back to another edition of Music Monday from the podcast Nurture the Mind. I am your host, Cole Poots, and we are back at it with another music reaction. Last week we did Blackpink, the return of Blackpink and K-pop on the channel. Video did very well. Thank you guys for the comments, kept them very positive. Enjoyed looking at your responses. This week, we're going to do it differently. I mean, you never really know what type of genre I'm going to pick when you show up to the channel. Another new artist, an artist that has never been covered on the channel before. It is Beartooth, and we are going over their newest album. I'm going to pick one song, and I think I'm just going to do the first song, which is called The Surface, and it is actually the title track for the album. The album is called The Surface, and this album was dropped on October 13th of this year. I don't know a whole lot about Beartooth. Basically, the only thing that I do know, or the few things that I know about Beartooth as a band, is I know they toured with A Day to Remember quite a few times. I never actually got to see these guys in person, but for some reason, A Day to Remember, one of my favorite bands of all time, has a large respect for these guys to bring them on tours with them time and time again. And then the second thing that I know is this is a new record. I mean, relatively new. I mean, it's December, but October, that was just a few months ago, so this is all brand new content. I'm assuming, I'm going to speculate that Beartooth is probably similar to the type of music that you hear in A Day to Remember. And if I had to categorize A Day to Remember, that's a band that's kind of hard to categorize just because they do so many different things and they do so many different things well. So they have hardcore stuff, they have soft stuff, they have acoustic stuff, pop punk, a little bit more rock and roll, alternative, heavy tracks. I mean, they're just all over the place, and they've been known to hop from genre to genre, kind of bending genres to their own liking. So if they sound anything like A Day to Remember, it's like I'm probably going to love this track, and I'm probably going to love this band because, not to get into some really big spiel, but, A Day to Remember, they came into my life around, I think it was 2011 is when I first started listening to them. So I was in 8th grade and I was going into my freshman year of high school. And I remember that summer, they were one of the few artists that was the only thing I was listening to. And A Day to Remember just has this incredible ability, I think even more so with their older stuff, like albums like Homesick, What Separates Me From You, and then Common Courtesy. But really a lot of their songs, they have this ability to transport you back to a certain place. Like their music for some reason feels so nostalgic. And I don't know why. They've just mastered that. They've mastered that art of making their music sound nostalgic. And so I have a great appreciation for A Day to Remember. Probably in my top 5 favorite artist bands of all time. I don't think they're ever going to move just because, of the impact that they had on me growing up. Definitely those were my formative years. So anything that I was listening to, it's I still gravitate towards that stuff. And so even though, a large percentage of my background is hip hop and rap influence, because that's what I grew up on, man, I have a deep appreciation for pop punk, hardcore, metal, all that stuff. So anyways, without further ado, we are going to get into this song, The Surface by Beartooth, off of the album The Surface. Really, this is my first exposure to Beartooth, so let's see how it goes.
Turn it up.
Yeah,
It's already pretty hard right off the bat.
Nobody left. This isn't paradise.
Whoa.
Place could be the end. Vitals are
His voice.
The dark's creeping
Beautiful.
in. If this is do or die, it's time to start again. All my worries never waste our time. Middle road so blurry, hours go right by. I can't finally see like the others. Think that I just discovered. They let you see under.
We're back to hardcore. Here we go. It's gonna be that yin and yang feel. Bro, I love it when he starts singing like this. Oh, fuck, there it goes. I love it, dude.
All my worries were a waste
of time, all so blurry. All my worries were a waste of time. All right, dude, that was a great track. I fucking love that song from start to finish. It really did feel kind of reminiscent to A Day to Remember, because there was like all of these hardcore like screaming moments, and you could feel like the instrumentation was just beating the fuck out of the beat. And then all of a sudden, the lead singer, I think, what did they say his name was? I was reading the description before I went into the album. Lead vocalist and mastermind Caleb Shomo. Caleb Shomo. Dude, when he was doing like the hook and the singing and the harmony, that was beautiful. He has an amazing voice. And this is kind of the thing that I said last week when I was listening to Blackpink, Doo Doo, is there was this balance between like the rap and the flowing and how the lyrics were just going so fast, and then you had like a moment to really breathe and conceptualize everything that the ladies were saying, because then it slowed down, and then came in that harmony, came in that hook, came in that thing that is like repeated over and over throughout the song. And they did a really good job of that in this song as well. If we're going to talk about subject matter, it really feels like from some of the lyrics that I was picking up on, the surface and then going underneath, and he's talking about vices and how his vices could be the end of him. But now all of a sudden he's seeing clearly. And the thing that it made me think of is basically the subconscious, the unconscious mind. If any of you guys are into like psychology and therapy and just like human behavior, you start to learn that a lot of the reasons why we humans operate in certain ways, it's coming from that unconscious, subconscious part of our brain, and we don't even really truly realize why we make certain decisions, why we keep making the same mistakes and everything like that. And when you learn about this stuff, it's actually quite fascinating that in those early years of your development, basically from the time that you're a kid and you can recollect any of those old memories, those first memories that you had, up until about, the age of 14, maybe a little bit older, whatever's going on in your life, if you're in a tumultuous household, bad relationships, just being terrified of your parents not feeling any sense of safety, all of those experiences mold the way that you view the world and how ultimately you treat yourself. There's a lot of kids that grew up, and just for an example, for purposes of the video and the reaction, like let's say that these kids experience their parents go through a divorce, or like if they were having a bunch of fights. And I've heard this as a common experience, is those kids, because they don't know any better, because they're so young, they will internalize that experience as they did something to cause that friction in the relationship, because their parents were having, big disagreements and big fights, when in reality, it was most likely just because the parents had gotten to a place where they were not suitable to be in a relationship or to be in a marriage anymore. Or if they fell out of love, if somebody cheated, whatever the case may be. So they decided to split up. But because it's so important for kids to have a stable household and a loving family and parents that care for them, and they need that sense of security, these kids internalize it like they did something wrong. Yeah, that's just what it made me think of. Not even necessarily that example, but just how we humans operate most of the time from our unconscious, our subconscious, and yet we think that we can kind of fix everything from the logical side of our brain, the forebrain, that was developed over thousands of years in our human evolution to have critical thought, to kind of take things into consideration. But that brain is much smaller in comparison to the lizard brain that we have. And all these things are deeply rooted, deep and underneath the surface. And that's why it takes years to crack away at that thing, to form new beliefs, because if you think about it, again, those years were so formative and last for a long time. So if all those years you were going through a lot of hardships in the household, and then those subconscious, unconscious beliefs carried their way through into your relationships as you got a little bit older, all of us have a lot of conditioning that we have to undo if we want to be successful in life and break down some of those bad patterns that we keep repeating. So this is a very interesting track, because upon first listen, it seems like that's what Caleb Shomo is talking about in some of the lyrics. But then talking about vices as well, and how the vices could be the death of him, but then he sees clearly. So it's like, I feel like the big message that I'm getting from this track is basically, and this is how I feel about life, is that as we get older, as we become conscious, autonomous adults, free thinkers, independent of all of the negative shit that happened in the years in the past. It is our duty, it is our obligation as we get older to fix those things about ourselves that we don't like, that we don't enjoy, or like things that aren't going very well in our lives. It is no longer our parents' fault. It is no longer our childhood that, limits us. It is no longer the education system. It is no longer society, whatever the fuck it is, where people concoct these excuses as to why they cannot move forward in life. When you get to a certain age, it is now your responsibility. If you're struggling with depression, if you're struggling with anxiety, if you're struggling with losing weight, you have to get up and put in the work, and understand too that like it's never going to be perfect. Like, I have struggled with mental health over the years, and I think it probably became more rampant in my early 20s, probably when I was like 21 or 22. Maybe I had some issues before, but I just didn't even notice them. And now I'm 26, and it was 2019. That's when I started going to therapy. So I've had a lot of time to work on myself, challenge those beliefs that don't serve me anymore. And even though I've put in a shit ton of work and I've changed myself in a plethora of ways, dude, like I still got tough days. I still got days where I struggle. I still got days where I'm like, holy fuck, dude, how do I even see past this anxiety that feels like it's clamping down on me? So there should never be the expectation either that like all of our problems are suddenly just going to disappear when we start putting in the work. But just another analogy or an example that I think of when listening to these lyrics and these songs is if you looked at the unconscious, the subconscious as like an iceberg, which kind of looks like the cover of the album, we have to chip away at ourselves, meaning like our negative tendencies. And that, who knows how long that process is going to take. I'm convinced that it's a lifelong process. But as you continuously chip away at those things, what type of result are you going to produce? You are going to produce a result of a much more refined person. If it was like a sculpture and it was covered up by all that ice, once you chip away at that, it becomes much more lean, defined, refined. I hate feeling like I'm using the same word over and over and over again, but that's essentially what you're doing. And right now, we are moving into late December. It's almost Christmas time, holiday season, and then after that, we have the New Year's. And just as a reminder, because everybody knows what's going to happen during New Year's, is you have all these people that come out of the woodworks with these New Year's resolutions when they've been telling you about these same New Year's resolutions or variations of the same New Year's resolution for years and years and years and years and years, and they've never changed anything. They haven't actually accomplished what they said they were going to do. And so it's a powerful reminder right now. It's like, okay, I like the New Year because it puts that idea in people's heads, but like, I want people to actually stick to it and actually do what they say they're going to do, because we all know those people that concoct their New Year's resolutions and they may stick to it for a month, 2 months, and then they're back to who they were before. It's about longevity. As I was just saying previously, this is a lifelong process that never ends. But as you start to chip away, as you start to get better, as you start to refine yourself, as you start to make better decisions, create better habits, then all of the sudden, it's like your vision opens up and you see things clearly. And I'm saying all this to relate it to the lyrics, because that's what Caleb Shomo was saying, is like all my worries were a waste of time. I can see clearly, basically, this world is fucking mine. I don't think that's how he said it in the song. He didn't rhyme it that way, but that's my interpretation. We get caught up so much in worry and projecting, what is the future going to look like? And then at the same time, we also get so fucking stuck in the past and all the things that have happened to us. And again, nobody's perfect, dude. Like I'm not coming on here on these videos, on these reactions to say that I'm the perfect person. I got all my shit together. Not at all. But I have spent a large part of my time, I would really say over the last 5 years is when I started to get into self-improvement, where I have completely and utterly changed myself and the trajectory of my life and where it's headed. Because if you guys would have met me 5 years ago, just to give you a small little glimpse of who Cole Poots was. So, okay, 26 now, and I'll be 27 in March. So 5 years ago, 2018, I would have been 21. Yeah, back then, I had long hair, believe it or not. I was not bald. I did not shave my head. I was smoking a lot of weed, playing a lot of video games. I think at that point, 2018, I had taken a hiatus, a break from school, which was intended to be one semester, the fall semester, but it quickly turned into basically a year and a half. And I was going through a relationship that was terrible for me. I was kind of starting to formulate habits back then. I was starting to like clean my room, get some things together, buy my own food, cook my own food, because I was still living at my parents' house. So I was trying to choose like healthier options. I always had fitness as like a background, so I never really lost that. But I wasn't as disciplined as I am now. Like now, I can't remember if I've said this on the channel or not. I tell so many people, so I forget where I've said it and where I haven't said it. If any of you guys have an Apple Watch, and you know that there's 3 rings that you're supposed to close on your Apple Watch, I've closed all 3 of those rings. Today will be either 256 days in a row or 257. I think it's 257. And so my goal for my calories to burn is 890 calories throughout the day. My workout time, the green ring, is 45 minutes a day of doing a workout. And then the blue ring is standing time and moving around, which is 12 hours. So I've hit every one. I've done at least one 45-minute workout a day for 257 days in a row. So the streak started sometime in April of this year. And it was kind of by accident. I remember hitting like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And then I was like, okay, I got to hit 100. Like that's the goal now. And then I hit 100 and I'm like, well, this feels really fucking good. Like I've noticed how much my mindset has changed, how much my confidence, my self-belief, my self-esteem, all these things have changed. I'm like, if I'm feeling this good right now, 100 days in, what would it look like 200 days in, 300 days in? And I ultimately made the decision basically on day 100. I'm like, I'm going to go 365 days in a row. And that's my goal. That's my mission. But as I'm describing this whole thing to you, trying to tie all of these ideas together, it's funny because every year, like I've evolved, I've gotten more disciplined, and I thought, for 3, 4, 5 years ago at that time, I was like, oh, like I'm super disciplined for my age, and in a lot of ways, yeah, I was building my discipline, but it's like, dude, every year it's gotten better, it's gotten more refined. Going back to my idea, just chip away at things. Like you can't fix every negative habit in a week or even a month. It's all about progress. It's all about the process, and it's all about momentum. It's like as you get started, man, it becomes like a wildfire. Like when I was on the streak or whatever of like day 5, I wasn't thinking of 257 days later. It's just effort day in, day out. And eventually you look over your shoulder and you're like, holy fuck, like it's been 250 plus days and I've just been executing on all of these things. And again, we all have our vices. So even though I feel like in a lot of ways I'm a super disciplined motherfucker, and I got a lot of things in my life in order. There's still things that I struggle with. Like if you guys want me to be super transparent on the channel, I will be. Dude, from time to time, I struggle with looking at porn. And I don't want to look at porn because I know it's not good for the human brain. And I know that, you know, when I'm struggling with porn and checking it more often than not, it reduces my ability and my drive to go out and to actually approach women and to try and find a partner. Because you don't have motivation because you're getting off by yourself. Anyways, these could all be different topics for a different day. I'm just talking about this song. 2023 is coming to a close. The new year is right around the corner. Caleb Shomo, Beartooth, in this song specifically, how I'm interpreting it, they're talking about vices, change that has to occur. How do we get better? Stop worrying all the damn time. Bro, I can fucking relate because I've been through hard times. I've been through times where I didn't think I was going to make it or get out of it and get to the other side. And we all have a duty to take care of ourselves, to make the changes that are necessary. Don't play the victim. Don't rely on what's happened in the past. Don't think too far ahead. Don't think too far into the future. It's good to think about the future, but like I said earlier, we humans, we just get caught up so far in the past and so far in the future. You can sometimes learn from the past. That's good. Think about it from time to time, but don't get obsessed with it. Future, we got to make future plans. We got to try and visualize where we're going, but don't think too far ahead. You know, like 20 years, I'm like, holy fuck, that's a long time away. Try to find some presence of mind and then fluctuate between all of those. But seriously, guys, let's all make it an intention. I don't like the word resolution because I don't think it ever works out. Let's make the intention that 2024 is actually going to be one of the better years of our lives. 2023 has been a really good year for me. Like I said, talking about discipline, getting on that streak. It's going to be a year. I'm gonna stick to it. And I'll probably do a video on day 365 just about the entire experience and what's changed. But I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Last little thing here, as I've been talking endlessly, I do it on every outro. There's 4 things that I ask that you guys do if you come to the channel. You don't have to do all 4 of them, but at least do one, especially if you watch this video, if you got through it, if you got all the way to the end. Please like the video. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm. It pushes my content, my channel, my videos out for more people to see, to spread the message. Also, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new here. If you've been watching my videos and you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Another great way to push my content out in the algorithm. If YouTube sees that, oh, this channel is now all of a sudden growing like wildfire, we got to push it out to more people. Third thing, share the message. You can do that in a variety of different ways. You can do it on social media, which is great. Or you could have conversations with people just saying, hey, like this was a really good reaction that I listened to. I think you could get some value from it. Go check out this guy, Poots. And then the 4th thing is comments, as I've talked about before. Dude, I love reading the comments. Just make sure that they're positive. We don't need assholes on the channel. There's already enough negativity in the world. Share your experience, share your story, maybe how you came across my channel, what you like about the bands and the artists that I'm reviewing. If you have any suggestions for me, constructive criticism, put it down there, man. This is a great community over here on YouTube for the most part. Very rarely do I run into assholes and negative comments, but we don't need that on the channel. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much for coming over. I appreciate you guys. Today is December 23rd, so have a Merry Christmas. I'm debating on whether or not I'm gonna drop this on the 25th or not, which would be Monday, to stick to the Music Monday schedule, but everybody's gonna be so busy with Christmas that I don't know if I wanna post it on that day, because earlier this year I posted on Monday, July 4th, and that video didn't do very well because people were celebrating. It was the holiday. So anyways, we'll see. I'll figure it out. Thank you guys so much. Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.